Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Capro. Well, I'm going to get into a little bit of tax law today because it's kind of important. A few years ago, the laws for required minimum distributions changed in many ways. First thing they did is they raised the age. So instead of you having to pull the money out at 7.5, they said no, you could wait till 73. They also changed the rules for beneficiaries. In the past, if you inherited money from an IRA from a non-spouse, you were allowed to take that money based on your life expectancy, a little at a time. The law changed and said you got 10 years to deplete the account. Now, unfortunately, the way they wrote the law is they didn't dismiss this idea of having to take money out every year. See, again, in the old rules, you had to take money out every year, but you didn't have to take out that much. You could take it based on your life expectancy. Now, the way the law was written, the intention was, well, now you no longer have to do that. You could take it all out in one fell swoop at the end of 10 years if you wanted to. But that's not how the IRS interpreted it. The IRS said, nah, based on what we're seeing here, you should still have to take it out every year, and you should have to deplete it by the end of year 10. It's not the way the law was intended, based on the way the lawmakers said. Nonetheless, for the last 4 or 5 years, accountants and IRS agents have been going back and forth. Now, you know it's murky because the IRS every year has said, okay, there's not going to be a penalty this year if you didn't take money out. We got to figure this out. We've got to finally issue a ruling. So starting in 2025, if you inherited money from somebody in an IRA, and they were not your spouse, we're going to recommend that you take a minimum distribution. Now, we'll calculate that for you. We'll tell you what the amount is, and you'll have that up to the end of that 10th year to deplete it. Now, some of you have been pulling money out of beneficiary IRAs well before the tax law changed, and you've been grandfathered in, so you're allowed to take this little bit amount for the rest of your life. But the rest of us, it doesn't seem to be quite that easy. Now, hopefully, in the next law that Congress issues regarding tax policy, and I think one will happen this year, all this gets cleared up and we won't have to do anything. So if you're not taking required minimum distributions from a beneficiary IRA already, we will ask you to take one next year in the second half of the year, maybe even the third quarter. We're going to just see what happens. If the law gets rewritten and things get clarified, great. But the service has pretty much said that starting next year, unless there's a change to the law, they will expect people to be pulling that money out. And if they don't pull it out, well, there's going to be a penalty. And we don't want you to have a penalty, all right? So don't worry about the past or even this year. I've done plenty of research on this. I've had a lot of discussions with a lot of people. It's been an up in the air issue. But now the service has pretty much said, no, 2025 is it. Let's be very clear. We want everybody to be pulling that money out unless the law changes. Again, this is only on the money that you inherited in an IRA from someone who wasn't a spouse. Now, if you're not sure about this, you want to talk more about it, give us a call. Be more than happy to go over it with you specifically. All right? Take care. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.